Hello, my name is Chris, and today I'll show you how to create a simplistic email design using Photoshop. First, I created a new Photoshop document, 800 by 1200 pixels. You can always adjust this, but perfect width for emails is around 600 to 800 pixels, and resolution is 72 as standard for web. Once you have the canvas open, you can hit Ctrl plus R and it will show you the rulers. I right clicked on it and selected pixels, so I get the pixel numbers on the rulers. It's always helpful to create a grid so it's easy to size and align elements when creating the design. It's simple to adjust the grid. All you have to do is go to Edit, Preferences, Guides, Grids, and Slices, and then you will be able to choose what options you want. Once you have the grid ready, make margins on each side. I made my margins 50 on left and 50 on right, so my working area is 700 in the middle. Also, you can drag from the ruler and it will create that divider, which is in like a cyan color, light blue color, and it will help you visually align content. Once you have the grid ready, you're ready to move on with your design. So first I created some text as a pre-header. It's always nice to have it on the design, even though you might want to hide it from the actual email. I'll tell you more about this when we code this email up. I'm using Arial. I'll use system fonts for this email, so it's easy to code and it will show correctly on all email clients. When creating the logo, I chose FontAwesome. It's an icon set. I will put a link in the description to download it. It's a free to use and comes in handy when you need some icons. Most likely you will have a logo from a client or from your own project, but if you don't, it's always nice to create a custom one, or you can just use FontAwesome like I did for a little dog icon. I picked a dog theme for this email just because it's nice and cheerful, and I found some really good stock photography for it. Next, we'll add an article photo. I used unsplash.com for stock image, and it's a very good resource. It has a lot of different images you can use, and you just need to credit the authors, and you're free to use them in your projects. A quick note about the logo: just make sure whichever logo you use that it's centered and quite big, because this design we want to keep the logo kind of prominent on it. For the stock image, it's quite high, so I used a mask to hide the top and bottom of the image because I kind of wanted more horizontal feel for the article image. Also, when working with layers and in general with Photoshop documents, make sure to use folders, as it will help you keep all the layers organized. And as an added bonus, you can align the stack layers really fast. Group shortcut to create folders or a group is Control plus G, or Command plus G if you're on Mac. And now, after you have the image and you position it where you want, it's time to add a title. Again, I'm using system fonts, so for title I will use Times New Roman. It's always nice, it's a bit of a typography thing to differentiate your fonts. Use sans serif and serif together. It creates a nice dynamic, and I think in my opinion it's easier to read. And you can, in my opinion, I like serif fonts on the title and sans serif as the copy, but you can swap that around. So for the body copy, you create a text box. So when you select the text tool with the T shortcut, left click and drag, and it will create a kind of binding box where your text will sit. So it's easy to align it, and you don't need to worry where to add the line breaks and stuff like that. I added some bacon ipsum just to be on cue with my dog theme, but you will probably have actual copy. So make sure it's not too long and not too little. And yeah, you can always just use like a paragraph and then something like read more or dot dot dot. After we have the body copy, it's always nice to have personalization if your ESP or email service provider allows it. So I added like a reminder for myself to use a dear name and then a default like dog lover. You might not have this option, so you might just want to skip the personalization. For the CTA that I created next, I used the rectangle tool, which the shortcut is U, and I picked a color from the dog's collar, so like a nice standout color in the image. Also, when you're aligning elements, if you see the center buttons in the top right panel are grayed out, all you need to do is hit Command or Control A. It will select your canvas, and then you can align the elements on the board. Sometimes Photoshop has it enabled, sometimes it doesn't, so it's always easy to just Command or Control A and then align. I also wanted a bit of a bottom border for my call to action, so what I did is I duplicated the same rectangle, and by holding Alt and dragging, and adjusted the color to a darker blue on the bottom layer, so the layer behind the actual CTA. You might want to use some additional links. So what I did is I duplicated the title, changed the color, and added an underline from the characters panel, which is usually on your right hand side, or if you don't see it, you can hit window and then character. Also needed some extra room for the footer. I was running out of my 1200 height, so what I did is I created an artboard. It's right under the move tool. If you right click, or there's a shortcut that you can use, it's V, and you just drag the square around your canvas and it will create an artboard, and you can then add in space if wherever you need. Also, good thing about FontAwesome, it's awesome for social media icons. So just type in Facebook and you'll get a Facebook icon. Type in Twitter, you'll get a Twitter icon, Instagram, and so on. And we can always slice them out when we will code up the email. And you can always make them different colors. Or if you want, you can always go to those social media sites and just use their icons, so you have the exact colors and the gradient for Instagram, for example. Also added a divider. I think, in my opinion, it helps differentiate where the content ends and where the footer begins. So just make sure you just use the line tool. In code, you don't even need to slice it. In code, I'll show you how to create it. But it helps visually to have it in the design, so you know where it is and what kind of size and color you want it to be. Just make sure it's centered and make sure it's evenly spaced with all your content. That's pretty much it. Also, make sure to space all the content nicely. Once you have the grids, it helps a lot because when you move items or layers around, it will align to whatever other things are aligned. I just decided that my two links might look better centered, so I just did that. I also noticed while rendering this video that some of my Photoshop pop-ups and stuff like that are not showing, so I'll amend that in the future video. But for now, this is the first part and the design of this simple email, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and stick around if you want to see how to code it up. Thank you very much.